Jacksonville and Seattle this weekend on Fox, but can't let you go without getting your prediction for the Broncos-Jets Sunday morning. What do you think happens?
Well, I think they get plenty of rest because they've got a sleep specialist, and I think the Broncos. I think they build off that fourth quarter they had offensively. I'm going to take the Broncos 30-13 over the Jets.
30-13. Okay, that works. That's the Jets have been allowing about 30-plus points per game, so that's the number through the first five, so hopefully that is the case. Mark, you have a great call on Sunday, and we'll see you back here bright and early Monday morning.
Sounds good, guys. Have a good one.
All right,
See
take
ya.
it easy.
Bye.
There he goes. And me and Stoke taking you the rest of the way. James Palmer will join us coming up at 8:30. A lot to kind of set the table with what's going on. We got the Broncos in London coming up. But I think for a lot of people, Stoke, there's kind of like they're reassessing or they're taking a second look at that win over the Eagles last week in the wake of the Eagles getting beat the way they did pretty handily by the Giants on the road on Thursday Night Football. So in your mind, and I know you weren't turning cartwheels over the Broncos win last week, but however you did feel about that win, has it been diminished at all by what you saw from the Eagles last night?
Yeah, it certainly has. I don't know how you can watch the game last night and then watch the Broncos game and still feel the same way. I think it takes a little bit away from it. Still a good win. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a really good regular season win. Was it special like some people thought? I don't think so. And I think with what we saw yesterday with the Giants beating the Eagles just don't look like the same team. You know, their running game's not the same. Their passing game certainly isn't very good right now. So for whatever reason, they don't look like that dominant team that was on that great run that won the Super Bowl last year. They look like they have a Super Bowl hangover, and maybe the team that we thought was a really good team, the Eagles, they're not very good. They're just an average team. Now, we shall see what it looks like for the rest of the season for the Eagles, but they don't quite look like the team that I think a lot of people thought they were going to be this year.
See, here's why I disagree with you, because while I agree that the Eagles were a flawed football team going into their game with the Broncos, they were still 4-0. They were still 20-1 in their previous 21. They were still, I think, carrying, the responsibility of, we're the Super Bowl champs and we're undefeated and we're at home and all of that. But I still think they gave the Broncos their best shot. Last night, once they lost to the Broncos, I think that they sort of kind of exhaled, the Eagles did, and I don't think you saw a motivated team last night, coming off a short week, playing on the road. I think you saw the Broncos win sent the Eagles into their official Super Bowl hangover period now. I don't think they were in their Super Bowl hangover period for the first 4 games of the season. I think the Broncos win put the Eagles now into that kind of Super Bowl hangover funk, and I think we saw that on display loud and clear last night.
Well, I think for me, it's always tough to, you look at the Eagles and they go on the road for a Thursday night game, quick turnaround game. So that's always a difficult thing to do. They got lucky to survive the Rams. They had a couple blocked field goals in that game. I look at it more as for the Broncos. What do they look like moving forward? I don't even really care about the Eagles anymore. And does it take a lot away, a little bit away because of how they played last night? It doesn't matter, really. How the Broncos – What did they gain from that victory? These next couple weeks, I'm hoping that we see a little bit more consistent team offensively. The defense is playing really well, but how good is Philly's offense? They don't look very good right now. So these next couple weeks will tell us if the Broncos gained a lot from that victory.
I'll tell you where I was impressed. I was impressed by the Giants, and I understand this is the same Giants team that lost to the Saints last week, but they seem to have some pretty good energy going right now with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo.
How was Scatterbo a 4th-round pick?
Yeah, and you know
that's
what?
Crazy. I mean, everyone watched him in college, and we watched Texas defense last year. They had a great defense and a really good run defense, and he ran. They couldn't tackle the guy, And then you look up, and he's a fourth-round pick, but you see what he's doing for that running game.
I agree.
It's been impressive. It's like, wow, how did that guy go to the fourth round?
Well, and this is why I love taking my good-natured shots at guys like Cecil Lammey, because the scouting community, for some reason, with some guys, they take whatever their production was in college, as great as it was, and they just kind of scoff at it and say, yeah, well, it doesn't translate to the NFL. And
Shut the hell up.
And I don't know. I mean, I think that's the biggest mistake, air quotes here, scouts make, is they get caught up in evaluating players with things that just don't really matter.
I've seen a lot of quarterbacks without their shirt on.
A stopwatch.
And
A stopwatch.
ultimately, put the film on. What does the film say? Okay, maybe he's a little bit undersized. Yeah, but the dude runs hard. He runs hard. He runs with passion. There are plenty of guys who can run 4.3s who don't have that kind of passion, don't have that kind of desire. And so if this guy's maybe a little undersized and he runs a 4.55 instead of a 4.3, but he runs with conviction and he runs with heart and guts, shouldn't that matter for something? I think that's where scouts blow it time after time after time.
Yeah, what's your vertical? What's your shuttle? What's your 40? And you get away from football.
Right.
Real football.
Right.
Like the running back position is a position of you're not going to – how many 80, 90-yard runs do you have? Not much.
Those runs down by the goal line yesterday
that
he had, does that have anything to do with how fast your 40 time is?
You don't want a guy that's a 4.9 running back, but 4.5, 4.4. I mean, what's the big difference
when he runs that hard?
Exactly. If you can't tackle the guy,
right.
You can't tackle him. I don't care if you run a 4.5 or 4.6. First guy's not tackling him. He's getting those extra 3 or 4 yards.
Whatever he hits, he destroys.
That's most important, right? Getting those extra couple yards when it looks like you have nothing. But you just look at that and say, how did everyone miss on this guy?
The data freaks.
We saw him last year in college, and the way that he played, it was impressive. But he goes in the fourth round. But look at the impact that he's had on that football team. I mean, obviously Jackson Dart also. And the other thing I was thinking about, Mike, and I know we'll get into it, Jackson Dart next week a little bit more, obviously, but I'm kind of watching him move around. Do we want Bo to be moving around a little bit more?
Yes.
He just creates.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I agree with you. He ran the ball 13 times last game for 58 yards against the Eagles. 20-yard long. He had that great touchdown run. He takes a lot of hits.
He does.
He takes a lot of hits, Mike. I don't know if this guy's going to be able to stay healthy if he continues to run and put himself in those types of situations. That's the only thing. But I'm watching him, and I'm like, I kind of want Bo to do a little bit more of that.
I do too. I've had at least 5 or 6 plays this season where I've been like, go, run. And he showed how athletic and what a weapon he is with his legs last year. And I think that, I don't know, do you think he's backed off on looking to do it, or do you think Sean's telling him that that's not the recipe for a long career and you've got to concentrate more on becoming a really good pocket passer, and I don't want you to run as much?
No, I don't think Sean would tell him that at all.
No?
No.
So then it's coming from Bo.
Well,
Bo's put the clamps on himself.
I don't know. I'm just speculating, obviously. They haven't invited me in any of their meetings, so I don't know.
Well, you were on the field, though. With
I
Sean.
know, but my next step is I want to get into the cryo.
Got
and
it.
Do the cryo, right? And then I'll have our own office.
You will.
Yeah. And so I'll start hosting the meeting.
I don't think anyone's using Russ's office.
That's
right.
It's
now, right?
vacant.
It's vacant.
Yeah, it's
right.
vacant.
Bo's a man of the people.
Do not enter.
Right. Speaking of Russ, by the way, watching Jackson Dart is just a reminder that once you have identified the guy that you're going to try to make your guy, just put him in there from the start. As long as he's shown the proper amount of commitment and work ethic, and as long as he's not Paxton Lynch, just get him out there. The fact that they went with that dog and pony show that was Russell Wilson for the first few weeks when they had Jackson Dart just sitting there was dumb. And then Russ comes in yesterday, gets one pass, throws it in the ground, crowd's booing him. I mean,
that was bad.
It was bad, but
That was
enjoyed
really
it.
bad.
Look, I'm not going to lie, and I try to keep my evaluation of athletes just strictly based on performance, but when it comes to Russ and the damage he created here, and coming in here and talking big and ha 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 and let's ride and putting the multiple Super Bowls on his cleats,
Oof.
all that kind of stuff. The fact that he turned out to be that much of a snake oil salesman, really. When those things happen to him, I'm not going to lie, I enjoy him.
Yeah.
I enjoy him.
Putting wearing his jersey to first day of training camp.
Yeah.
And everything just felt fake.
Yeah.
Orchestrated.
Yeah.
Planned, scripted.
Yep.
But it does. It kind of
And I know it's partially my fault.
No.
I fell for it. I fell for the banana in the tailpipe. I took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. But now that I know what I know, when he has moments like that last night, I enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm. It's kind of hard if you're a Broncos fan to not enjoy it a little bit. It really is. But that was a terrible play. But I'm watching Jackson Dart and the way that he moves, and I'm seeing the plays he is making with his legs, extending drives, scoring touchdowns, and I'm like, Bo is just as athletic as Jackson Dart.
Easily.
So I do want to see him use his legs more because it's such a weapon. But Bo, they had a run play for him a couple weeks ago, and going to the left, and people get around him, he just falls down. Mm-hmm. He's not putting himself in bad situations, which I like because we don't want him to get hurt, obviously. But at the same time, I kind of like, all right, just would like to see you use your legs a little bit more.
I'm with you. I have my rule is a simple rule when it comes to young athletic quarterbacks. In the first couple of years, while you are learning how to become an accomplished pocket passer, because ultimately your success or failure is going to be based long-term on whether or not you can dominate from the pocket. But in the process of learning it, if you're an athletic quarterback, I want you to run as much as possible. Use your legs as much as possible until you show that you are now an established pocket quarterback. And at that point, I don't want you to run at all, because there's no need for you to. But until you become that kind of quarterback, I want you to run. And Bo's not there yet. Bo just isn't an accomplished pocket, own, operate, dominate from the pocket quarterback yet. And so until that day comes, I want him to run more because he's not that good enough as a pocket quarterback where he can just rely on that. He's got to bring some other things to the toolkit, and that, based on what we saw last year, run the football, run it more. Just be smart about it.
Yeah,
but
that's
look
the
for
only
those
thing, though.
Look for those chances and take them and be smart about it. I think
he's done a good job of that overall, of knowing when to run and when not to run, extending plays, moving in the pocket. I think it's been better this year than it was last year. But yeah, his legs are a weapon. It just you ask for it, Mike, but then if he gets dinged up, Jackson Dart was in the medical tent. Mm-hmm. He's taken some hits.
I don't want Jackson Dart ran 13 times last night?
Yes.
13 times.
13 carries.
That's way too much. I would never want to see Bo running 13 times. Would I like to see Bo run six or half of that?